initially I didn't come up here and say I was going to be a filmmaker. It was just, all right, get away from the trouble of being on the reserve and get educated and just basically, you know, try to find myself. Plus I felt it was in terms of how my talent could positively affect my community and my culture, I felt that would have been the best way to kind of go about it.
You told me that your films are not the one we expect to be classified as First Nations film. You want to be useful to your community and doing films that are not obviously Indian films.
A lot of Native writers and directors don't really want to show the negativity that's going on in reserves because I think they don't need to reinforce a negative stereotype of Native people since everybody around is doing it anyway. But by doing that, I think that what they're really doing is almost sanitizing the Native persona for public consumption. Given that film is a bourgeois occupation, a lot of the people that were initially attracted to it, especially First Nations people, didn't actually come from inside the communities but outside. So I think that's really reflective in the type of films they made, which had a tendency to almost romanticize what the Native characteristic was. And for me, I think I just wanted to kind of go in and show the characters for who they are and not really kind of bestow upon them this almost ridiculous notion of Native spirituality. It would kind of stand to reason that a culture that has gone through, what, 200-300 years of direct kind of decimation and assimilation wouldn't necessarily be all that spiritual at the end of that. I mean, really, you're going to be dealing with a post-apocalyptic culture. And I kind of tried to focus a little bit more on that, the loss of this culture and spirituality more than the reinforcement of it, because I think it gives the false impression that Native peoples are really doing well when in fact, I mean, if you're going to believe something like Statistics Canada, out of the 50 plus odd languages and cultures that are still alive and you know, functioning in Canada in 100 years, I think they're all going to be gone save, you know, 3. And that's, I think, Inuktitut, Algonquin, and Ojibwe. Everything else is gone, regulated to textbooks and movies with names like Dances with Wolves. Ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. This is what kind of blows my mind about growing up in Quebec, right? We have the language laws here, and everything that they're saying, we want to preserve our culture, we want to preserve our language, we want to protect our land, is exactly what Native people have been saying for the past, well, since the French got here. And for the life of me, I just don't understand why it is that they maintain this kind of ethnocentric view of the culture in Quebec rather than kind of embrace and maybe even work together with the native people. It really just doesn't make any sense to me. Language is almost a living organism. If you neglect it, it's going to die.